can contribute. The Honorable Murugaara.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I stand, I'm also in agreement that we should actually take 5 minutes, but we are not bound by any rules because we need to start with that. I'll implore members and implore myself also to take 5 minutes, make a contribution so that as many members as possible can speak to this very important motion. May I begin by thanking the Budget Committee and the chairmanship of Honorable Ndindi Nyoro. They have done a fantastic job. I appeared before them. They were really grueling. They grilled us. They asked many questions. We were able to answer. And this is how this report has been made. Mr. Speaker, sir, the net effect of what we are doing is to reduce the budget allocations and especially the budget on expenditure. And this is purely because we've not been able to attain the targets that were in the original budget. And this is the right thing to do simply because we cannot borrow all the time so as to bridge up gaps in our budget. Therefore, sometimes we have to bite the bullet and go to reduce what we had budgeted for so that we are able to actually live within our means. We are not being overambitious. It is perfectly in order for a country to be ambitious, but if that ambition is not attained, then you make a tactical retreat by saying, I cannot attain this, let me make a reduction, and we move on. There are gains we are making in terms of our local currency, which is actually appreciating, and as a trade country, we should make use of this so that we are able to trade well, and especially in terms of imports, which are benefiting from these local currency gains. As we move on to even do the budget now, we must think of civil servants, including police officers, who are actually craving for salary increases because they're saying they're living in very poor conditions and their salaries are very poor. We must look into this as we look into the fertilizer subsidy. We have actually spoken a lot about the fertilizer subsidy, and we are informed that the country, due to the long rains, which are actually very good, we are going to realize the fruits of the subsidy we have given for fertilizer. But we must again caution the criminals and the crooks out there who are finding an opportunity to exploit this subsidy so that they do not go on to do crooked things to try and sabotage such a noble idea on subsidy, on production, which is what our country is banking on. We have spoken about Article 223 of our Constitution, which allows the government to spend money on emergency without approval of Parliament. This is extremely important, and the government must stand warned that the only money to be spent under Article 223 is on emergencies. We've spoken about the emergencies of El Nino, the rains that we've been experiencing, the damage we have seen on our roads, on those who live near riverbanks, flooding and water view. And if any money has been spent on this, this is justified. We must speak for it. We must, as Parliament, approve that Article 223 does come in, and the government was right to make use of that article to spend money on the emergencies that we have experienced. There are demolitions that are going on, and every member of Parliament, especially from Nairobi, is speaking passionately about it on riparian sections, those who live within reserved areas. However, again, we must repeat, the government must be cautious. These are human beings. They must be treated with the utmost dignity. We even have entities that have old titles in respect of lands that neighbor riparian sections. The net effect is that we cannot have any challenge to those titles, and we must trend with caution. And finally, we've spoken about universities, and I must point out about my two universities, Tharaka University and Chuka University. These are in dire need of money. We must allocate money, even if it's not in the supplementary, in the main budget. Universities must be taken care of so that we are able to educate our children. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support.